Morning. We're going to read from Living Clean again today. This is episode 7 of my videos so far. We're working through the Living Clean book. You can order online. I know it's backwards, but you can see what the cover looks like so you can get a copy. And today's chapter is called Education. So addiction can be pretty disruptive to education. Some of us stopped early in the process or never felt engaged by it at all. And there are gaps in our knowledge, either as a result of our addiction or where we come from, and these can be a source of shame as well. Lack of information is not a character defect, it's just something we don't know yet. There is a difference between not knowing and not being teachable. Recovery is an education. We are learning principles and practicing a new way of life. In the process, we learn to read, write, care, share, practice, show up, and keep coming back. The abilities we develop as we work the steps are easily transferable. When we apply these steps to other kinds of learning, we tend to do surprisingly well, even though the method may be very different. If we are starting at the beginning, there are few limits to how far we can go. Many of us go back to school after we get clean, and we can be surprised at the challenges we confront. Even a training program at work can be intimidating when we are not used to learning that way. It's not something all of us do, and many of us go back for a little while and decide it's not for us. I was grateful for the opportunity, but I also found out I didn't have to do that, said a member. We may go back to school because we need new skills or just because we want to try something new. I had really distorted ideas about what society was, said one member, and what the playing field was. Before I could fully participate, I had to learn how it worked. We learn more than just the subject we are studying. We learn how to learn. Just as our bodies were damaged by our addiction, our brains have taken a beating. Whatever we study, whether it's playing the guitar, welding, knitting, or philosophy, learning gives our minds a workout. We can see and feel the healing as we practice absorbing and retaining information. We learn to work under pressure and to accept feedback. We learn to persevere through a learning curve. Impatience is a stumbling block. We want to know something, not to learn it. Studying is an exercise in staying focused. Our practice at being teachable is a good start. Some of us go back to school with a specific plan in mind, but we can surprise ourselves. The joy of learning can be its only reward. We may not know what we are good at, and chances are we're smarter than we think. I believed I was stupid because it took me so many years of relapsing to get clean, a member shared. Getting a degree helped me to believe in my own intelligence. Being open-minded about our talents can allow us to follow a path we had not imagined. Many of us share the feeling that we must catch up or make up for the lost time to our addiction. We struggle with the feeling that we are somehow just not enough. Making time for our commitments at school and in NA can be a lesson in balance. We may imagine that all of our classmates are using or that they are a unit we don't fit into. We can be insecure and judgmental at the same time. The process was surprisingly emotional, shared a member. I wore my recovery like armour. I felt lonely and unnoticed, but I didn't have the self-acceptance to let anyone in. If we tend toward perfectionism at all, chances are we'll get to confront it when we go to school, a member shared. I felt like a failure if I got less than a perfect score on a test. I couldn't sleep until I figured out where I had gone wrong. I was competing against the other students. I was competing against my own fear. Right behind perfectionism is a wall of shame. Any misstep feels like it opens a window on that secret. Suggestions feel like criticism, and criticism feels like condemnation. Often we act as if our lives will really begin at some future time. When we get a certain amount of clean time, when we finish school, when we get that job, or when our lives have magically become manageable. In a Just for Today programme, we learn that what matters is not what will happen at a future date. Our lives are what we're doing right now. The way we live on the way to our goals is the way we live. Tall trees require deep roots. We need to ensure that we are taking the time to build and maintain our foundation as we move forward. Well, powerful. That really spoke to me today. I hope it has you, whoever is listening. And remember, just for today, we do not pick up no matter what, and the aim is to get our head on the pillow tonight clean. And if you go to bed clean and in a good mood, you'll wake up in a good mood. That's it, I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening.